So we are on 163 in our practice book. And number 1 says, which of the following is greater than 2/3? Circle all that fly. What is our monster giving us a hint to do?
Find a common denominator for each part of fraction.
Awesome. Thank you, Colt. So that's what we're going to do in our notebook. So we're going to do each one and find a common denominator. So we're going to compare each one to 2/3. So in our notebook, we have 3/4, and we're comparing it to 2/3. What would be our common denominator, Tyler? What, honey?
2/3.
Well, if I want to make 4 and 3 the same number, what would I make it? 12, yes, because if you skip count by 4, you get 12. And if you skip count by 3, you get 12. Remember we called that least common multiple, right? So let's skip count by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and we can keep going. And if we skip count by 4, we have 4, 8,
12, 16.
okay, so least common multiple means the smallest number that they have in common, which is 12. So we're going to make both of these 12. How do I go from 4 to 12?
Times 3.
So whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. What's 3 times 3?
9.
9 12s. How do I go from 3 to 12? Multiply by 4. So the 2 I'm going to multiply by 4 and I get 8. So 9 12ths is an equal fraction of 3/4, and 2/3 an equal fraction to 8 12ths. So which fraction is greater? 3/4. Okay.
Why does the college start when you're teaching?
All right. You ready for B? Yes. So in our notebook we have 5, 6, and we're comparing that to 2/3. Again, we have to find common denominator. Which fraction are we going to change?
2/3.
To have a common denominator of
6. So multiply by 2.
Yep, thank you. Perfect. So 2/3 has an equal fraction of
4, 6.
4 6. So which is greater? 5 6 or 4 6?
5,
6.
5 6. Okay. So far 2/3 is less than all of the fractions that we've looked at. Let's look at C. We have 8 12ths, and we're comparing that to 2/3. 8 12ths, 2/3. Which one are we going to change? Yeah, because if we skip count by 3, we get to 12. So 12 would be the least common multiple.
Can I see what it is?
2/3. Hold on, Liam. Liam, how do I go from 3 to 12?
Times 4.
Okay, so 2 I have to multiply by.
So it would be 8, so it's equal.
Ooh, so it's equal. Do you guys see how it's equal?
Yes.
Yep. So I put an equal sign here. And then I have 3/2. 3/2. Last week we were talking about fractions on a number line. If I were to draw, this tells me half, so there's 2 equal parts. So 1, 2. So this would be 2 2s. Where would 3 2s be?
And it'll be 1 and 1/2.
Yeah. What do we also know about this fraction?
It's full.
It's
over one whole.
Yep, it's more than one whole. So if I'm comparing this fraction to 2/3, which one's going to be greater? 3/2, because we don't need to find common denominator. We already know that 3/2 is greater than 2/3 because this is greater than 1/2. Okay, so let's go back to answer what this question is asking us. Which of the following is greater than 2/3? Circle all that apply. A is greater, B is greater, C? No, and D. Good. Okay, show me 2 when you're ready for number 2. Okay, we have 4 friends. We have Harry, who ate this much of a sandwich. We have Steven that ate this much of a sandwich. Misha that ate that much, and Gabe that ate that much. Who ate the most? So what we're going to do is we're going to take all 4 of these fractions and put them on a number line from least to greatest. This is something that you guys will have to do on the FSA test too. There'll be something where it gives you fractions and it wants you to put them in order. So we're going to take a practice at that. So first, let's write down all of our fractions that the problem gave us. It gave us 5/8. It gave us 2/5. We have 3/4 and 6/12. Remember last week where we looked at each fraction and we decided if it was greater or less than 1/2? Yeah. Okay, that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to put this over here. Nope, we're just going to do it in our notebook quick. So we can look at each fraction at a time. So let's cut 8 in half. What's half of 8? 4. So 4/8 would be 1/2. So now we look at the 5, and the 5 tells us that it is less than or greater than 1/2? Greater. Because if it was less, it would be a 3, a 2, or a 1, but it is a 5. Halfway is 4, so anything greater than 4 is going to be bigger than half. So we're going to put, we know it's bigger than half, so we're going to put it here, 5/8. Okay? What's our next fraction? 2/5. Same thing. What's half of 2? I'm sorry, half of 5.
2.5.
2.5. Okay. So where would this fraction be on the number line? Less than 1/2 or greater than 1/2? Halfway is 2.5. This is 2, so it's going to be right here. So we're going to label 2/5. 3/4. Is that greater or less than half? Greater, because let's cut the denominator in half. What's half of 4? 2. So 2/4 would be right half. This is 3/4, so it's going to be right here. 3/4. But what we're going to do, we're going to go back and we're going to do these and double check to see that 5/8 is less than 3/4. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. 6/12. What is 6/12? Greater than or less than 1/2? Bailey?
Greater. No, it's
Ooh, hold on.
like equal.
equal to 1/2. How do you know that, Jackson?
Because half of 12 is 6.
Half of 12 is 6. So 6/12 is going to be right here on the number line. Okay. So we have 2/5, that's the least. Then we have 6/12. We just have to make for certain that 5/8 and 3/4. We have to compare them. So what do we have to do to just double check that? What do we have to do to compare 5/8 and 3/4? Rylan?
Put them next to each other and see which one is 3/4.
Yeah, 3/4. What do I have to do with the 4?
Turn it into an 8.
Turn it into an 8. It has to have the same denominator to compare it equally.
3/4 is more.
How do I go from 4 to 8?
10 times 2.
What's 3 times 2?
6.
6. Okay. So which one is greater? 3/4. So now we can circle these and we know for sure that they go in that order. Okay, good job, guys. Now, did this question take us a little bit of time?
Yes.
But did you get the answer and all your points? Yes. So what's our biggest fraction here?
3/4.
3/4. So let's go back to our question. Who ate 3/4 of a sandwich?
Micah.
Micah. So we will circle that.
Micah.
Yeah, it's Micah. But remember, guys, if you're not sure then like how to say the names, just call him S or M or G, okay? Don't let those names trick you. Has nothing to do with the problem. Bailey?
My cousin was
Okay. We have Erica and Matt. They earn the same amount of money each month. But Erica saves 3/10 of her money or her earnings, and Matt saves 3/6 of his earnings. Which explanation correctly tells who saves more? So before we read all of our answers, let's figure it out on our own. So we're comparing 3/6 and 3/10. So in your notebook, guys, 3/6, 3/10.
I'm going to change 3/6. You're going to have to multiply 6 by 10 and 10 by 6.
Okay, hold on. There's something, remember there's 2 ways we can do fractions. We can do common denominator, but we can also look at the fractions and decide like easily which ones are greater than or less than 1/2. So let's put them on the number line, right? 3/6, what's half of 6?
3.
3. So 3/6 is gonna go right here. That's half. That's exactly half. What about 3/10?
That's at the
What's half of
5.
10?
5.
5. So the 3 is less than 5. So 3/10, is that greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2? Less. So I'm just going to put 3/10 here. So do we have to find common denominator? Not in this case. We can easily just tell which ones are greater than or less than 1/2. So the person that saved 3/6 of their money obviously saved more money. So who was that? Matt. Okay, hold on. Let's look through all of these now to see who. So Erica saves more money? No. Matt saves less? No. Erica saves more? No. Matt saves more because 3/6 is greater than 3/10? Yes. Okay. How do you think Fran chose C?
Because 10 is greater than 6.
What do you think, Bailey? What did she look at?
I think he looked at the denominator.
She compared them using the denominators instead of the numerators. Okay. Good job, Bailey. What do you think, Bridger?
It's because, well, she looked at only at the fraction comparing on number C, but she didn't look at the name.
Oh, true. Maybe she was just being careless, too. Yeah. But either way, is she correct?
No.
No. Okay. Okay, number 4. Melanie read 45 pages of a 100-page book. How could we write that as a fraction?
145, 100.
Yeah. Because we know that there's 100 whole pages and she's read 45 of them. Her younger sister read half of her 10-page book. What would that be a fraction? It's not a half. What do you think, Charlie? 5/10. Because it's telling us that we have to do half of 10. So who read the greater fraction? So we have to compare. We have 45 100ths, and we're comparing that to 5/10. What is the little monster telling us we need to do?
One fraction has a denominator of 100. The other fraction has a denominator of 10.
Good job, Colt. So what do we have to do? Compare them by making common.
Denominators.
Which one are we going to change? 5/10. 5/10 needs to be an equal fraction with 100 as a denominator.
10 times.
10. Okay, so 10 times 10 gets us 100. So we have to do whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom, and vice versa. So 50. So our two fractions that we're comparing are 45 100ths or 50 100ths. Which one's greater? 50 100ths. So who read more?
Mina.
The child.
Wow.
The younger sister. Even though Melanie read more pages, the question is not asking us the amount of pages, it's asking us the
Book.
greater fraction.
But you said who read more. You didn't say who read the greatest fraction.
Well, let's talk about what the question's asking us. What's the question asking us? Who read a greater fraction?
Their book.
So that would be the little sister, right? Okay. Be very careful when you're reading these and making sure that when you're comparing them, you find common denominator. Okay.
But I have a question.
Okay. We're comparing, there's two ways to compare fractions. We can find greater by common denominator, or we can say what is greater or less than 1/2 or equal to using the number line. This is also known as benchmarks. Okay, so this first way, we're going to compare 5/4 with 9/10 using common denominator. So what are our two denominators here?
5/4 and 9/10.
Yep, so 4 and 10. What would be a common denominator? Let's skip count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. And if we skip count by 4s, we also get 40. So Charlie, what would it be? Yep. We're going to change them each to 40. So 5/4 has an equal fraction with 40. And 9/10 has an equal fraction with 40. Charlie says that we multiply by 10. Do you agree? Yep. So what's 5 times 10? 50. Okay. So we have 50 40ths. And then how do we go from 10 to 40?
4 times 4.
Times 4. So 9 times 4 is 36. Okay. So we're comparing 50 40ths and 36 40ths. Which one is greater? 50/40. What do you also notice about 50/40?
It's greater than 1.
It's greater than 1. How do you know that?
Because if there's a denominator 40 and if there's a numerator 40, that's 1.
1 whole. Mm-hmm.
But it's more, the numerator is more than 40, so it's more than 1.
Perfect, yeah. So if we were going to use benchmarks and we have our number line, 0, 1, 1/2 is here. Noah is saying that 50/40 is greater than 1 whole. Do you agree with him? Yeah, because the numerator is greater. So 50/40 would be like over here. And 36/40 would be like right here. So which is still greater? 50/40, yeah. You just have to look at the 5/4 or 50/40 once we changed it. And we know that 5 is greater than 4 and it's greater than 1 whole.
You didn't even have to do common denominators because you can tell it's already 1.
Yep, that's one strategy, but this question was asking us to show how we can use both strategies, right? So it's asking us to use common denominator as our first strategy, and then it was asking us to use benchmarks or greater or less than 1 whole or 1/2 as a second strategy. Okay.